Yeah, that's bad timing on that. Welcome everybody to the Toku Portal podcast for Kikai Sentai Zenkaiger. I am Vashuvi, and joining me on this well overdue podcast is
Right. And we're back. Ugh.
for now.
Yeah, so the toy apocalypse happened.
And
Uh,
like, have you have you seen? I think Drago had posted it. Like the last thing that um Shirokura posted.
I think I read it
Which, yeah, he
earlier.
did. It says where he says he appreciates all Toku fans worldwide who love our shows, even by whatever way they watch them. All
However,
means all.
however, uh, when you're constantly
No.
screaming at the CFO on Twitter, it's kind of hard for them to just ignore what's happening.
Right. Because, like, everything that I heard, like, TV Neon, they had an understanding with Toei when it came to this. And it basically came down to just
We
take
can't
down the stuff, take
we
down the stuff we licensed.
we can't overlook this anymore.
Right. And then, that's what happened. It got to the point where because people couldn't shut the hell up.
All you had to say was nothing. But too late
Like,
now.
it wasn't even that. It wasn't the fact that they didn't have to say nothing. It was they didn't have to name drop.
Yeah, which brings me to my next point. We're gonna try to keep doing this for Zenkaiger. Uh, we're not really sure Saber is just worth everything, but for the time being, we're gonna keep going through undisclosed means.
Yes, those of you who are watching this and have seen the episodes, you obviously know those means.
There's
It
probably
would
several out there,
yes, there are quite a few for Tokusatsu.
and
How long those will continue, we don't know.
and while we're on the subject, watching this particular sub just kind of highlighted why I chose TVN from the beginning.
This is why all of us chose it.
Not
All
that
of us
it,
that chose TVN over other places. It's not that the subtitles are bad, but it's part of what people were complaining about with the subtitles from Toei.
right, like it's not bad. It's just these minor things that real that really make a difference.
Just like it's amazing how much I miss color coded
That
subtitles.
that was a huge one for knowing who was talking when you can't see their mouths.
Like it gets to, especially towards the start of a show when you haven't gotten to the point of knowing people's voices.
Right. Like the shows themselves are pretty good about like making it clear who's talking through just camera work and body motion, but still having those subtitles really highlights it for you.
It's just I miss all the extra flair.
And then there's little things like honorifics being portrayed correctly.
Yeah. I also miss seeing Henshin over transform.
Mm. Yeah, certain things you like TVN was pretty good about knowing like we're not going to translate this because it's cooler this way.
Right. And if you can't figure out what it means, there's a problem.
But also, it helps introduce you to that culture.
Right. Like,
So, like, shouts, like, official subs Like I watched Ranger, and all of the the localizing and cutting out of Japanese culture was painful.
I'm gonna regret the I'm gonna regret that 01 purchase, aren't I?
01 will still hold up, but there's going to be those little things that, especially since you've seen TVN subs, you're gonna know it, and it's gonna be
Yeah.
like, please stop. This is annoying.
I swear to crap if they change his gotta have Aruto to anything other than gotta have Aruto.
They're going to.
Because I've seen a few from various sources where the certain groups have changed it to that's Aruto for you.
Yeah, that's the one that I'm expecting Shout to do.
Yeah, I don't want that.
Me neither.
But at the same time, I can't complain because I get to own 01.
Right, ultimately we get to support the official release, which is something that is surprisingly difficult to do when you actually want to.
Right. Like they're good about releasing stuff. It's just at least in ways that we can partake them now. It's just the length of time between what they're putting out for us to have versus what's been out for years. That list is exaggeratingly long. 'Cause, I mean, they haven't even gotten close to the last decade on Super Sentai.
But anyways, Zenkaiger episode 12. Which one was this one? Oh, right.
Uh,
So Juren and Majin are basically the only two members left on the team that think Zox is an asshole.
yeah, for now.
Kaido is too infatuated with Zox's quest to rescue his brothers. Gowon has this thing about humans. Vroom, I don't know, Vroom.
He just wants to study.
He's just kind of in his own world half the time, anyways.
If nothing else, he's irritated that everybody keeps interrupting his study and cleaning time.
Uh, so, uh, this week's monster is a snail.
It's
That's it.
actually very. However, the use of it was actually kind of
Right,
clever.
like he creates an area of effect that anyone inside it is slowed down. He, however, is immune to this.
I also do like the fact that it incorporates anything that then enters that area, rather than being at that standard. This is what was in it when it got used, so this is what's
Right.
affected. Anything else is not.
So, when Jurin and Majin are being attacked and Zox comes to fight the monster, he enters the area and is suddenly slowed down. So when the other Zenkaijers show up, Flint stops him like, wait, 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 don't go, don't go. And she helps them come up with a plan. Not to help them or anything, no, she just wants to rescue her brother.
Sounds about right. um, yeah. Oh, I had something. I lost it.
Well, we also get a little subplot where Zox feels that as the leader of his pirate gang, he needs to be the most capable, meaning that he shouldn't need to rely on them to save him in a pinch.
I mean, theoretically, he's not wrong.
Right, but he seems to have a bit of a. mm, what's the word I'm looking for? Whatever. He doesn't quite seem to get it.
You know, and this is only relevant because I spent pretty much my entire workday watching this, and no judgment that I was watching this, but I literally just watched this in Sailor Moon. This entire subplot in Sailor Moon.
Who would judge you for watching Sailor Moon? Everyone loves that show.
It's basically animated Power Rangers, is what it is. They transform, fight bad guys, and in Crystal they have awesome transformation music. Um, but no, like this is that whole Sailor Moon gets told she's the leader and feels that she has to be at this level, and in her case, she's clearly not. So it's that whole leader must be the best.
I distinctly remember when I was like 8 or whatever when I was watching it. Jupiter's introduction was that Sailor Moon was getting her ass kicked by the villain of the week, and Jupiter, civilian form, no powers, just comes up and suplexes him.
I kind of wish that they had left that in Crystal because that's what I'm watching. I'm watching the Crystal version.
Like, I'm
And
exaggerating, but like she basically just like flips the guy over her shoulder or something like that.
well, yeah, no, she still does that because it's the in Crystal, it's the which I'm correlating is the mannequin episode,
And that's
and
when,
she gets trapped by the mannequin, and she goes, "No, this is some bullshit." Freak.
yeah, that
And
must be
Aikido
it.
flips him, yeah. And Aikido throws him back at Jedi or Kunzite or whichever ite it
And
was.
and then they realize like, oh, she's another Sailor Senshi. Let's recruit her.
It showed that, like, for me, like back in the day, that was my guilty pleasure anime
Who was
because
that?
ignore the sound. That is Pixie messaging me. And yes, I know we're doing Sentai, not Sailor Moon. Shut up in there. It is relevant. But like the area I was at, it wasn't the go-to for boys to watch. That was you were supposed to wait and watch, Dragon Ball Z and whatnot when that came on, and you weren't supposed to watch. It wasn't the manly thing to watch. That show was great.
See, I never got that whole like toxic masculinity thing as a child because I grew up with like Sailor Moon, Powerpuff Girls, Kim Possible, Proud Family. It's like I had so much like positive women exposure as a kid. Like I didn't understand sexism at all.
Like I did, but at the same time, I understood the sexism because my it's something my dad tried to ingrain in me. It doesn't. Some of it's still there, as much as I'm ashamed to admit it, but like not in a negative way. Just more of a I'm more of aware of this type of shit now.
And, like growing up and like learning about like gender inequality in school and stuff, it was like a difficult concept for me to understand because it's like, what do you mean this still exists in the modern world? Like I thought we were behind that. I thought that was behind us rather. Like just because I
Like
just had so much positive women exposure as a kid, like I didn't understand that it was still an issue.
right. No, like because I was mentioning Pixie earlier about the fact that I was watching Sailor Moon while I was at work. Like it's basically Power Rangers just animated, and there's no giant monster fights.
And yeah, we're getting sidetracked talking about Sailor Moon because guess what? This episode of Zenkaiger has very little substance to it.
Both episodes have very little substance to it.
You
Honestly,
you get a neat scene with Yachan where she meets the two brothers for the first time and she makes everyone food. Like, you're working hard, you need to fuel up before you go out there and fight. Like, really, like, highlights her role as a supporting character and how she makes sure that everyone has what they need to get out there and save everyone.
right? Like it beyond the her existence as Kaito's grandmother. It's showing her having a purpose beyond I exist.
And these little moments of them, you know, just sitting down and doing something normal, such as eating,
Or
really.
like or like when they're having like conversations about what to do, and she does chime in.
Right. And it just kind of highlights like the fact that they are actually going out there and risking their lives, and that's not normal. Also, can we talk about how Barashi Tara has been the one sending out the monsters for like the past month or so because Iji Rude has been working on other shit?
I mean, he does want to take credit for a lot of shit. He does want to be the one to do it. So it would make sense that he'd go, "Yeah, no, I'm gonna use this time to fuck with you." And what are you complaining about? Spoiler alert: you have to watch Sailor Moon. It's the same thing. I don't care. They're the same show, just updated and condensed. Now go away. And also, you won't watch it because she's called Usagi.
What does she want her to be called?
Serena.
Oh, the dub thing.
Yeah.
I suppose she doesn't like Chibi Moon either.
I don't know about that yet. Are you? Do you have complaints about Chibi Moon? Her name is Rainy. And you know, it's not MoMA, it's Darren or Darian. Darian.
Oh.
The only complaint I have going from the 90s dub to Crystal's dub, I'm disappointed she's no longer called Meatball Head.
Oh,
It's just Bunhead.
that honestly makes more sense.
It does, but I missed the Meatball Head. It sounded more of an insult.
True. So,
Get your ass somewhere else.
the way they overcome the slow motion area of effect is with the Turbo Ranger gear that they use to shift into turbo and speed up with the power of youth. And then while explaining this, Toon stops and thinks like, "Wait, was that ever a thing that they could do?"
Like, to me, it's one of those, like, Toon explained the wrong gear. She especially did Car Ranger.
Yeah, I was about to say, I was like, I'm wondering if this is another Car Ranger joke with a jab at America.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Um,
It does make more sense that way.
so if you haven't seen Gokaiger, uh, they had a Car Ranger tribute, and Car Ranger was the series that got adapted as Power Rangers Turbo in America. And so at the end of the episode, when the Gokaigers go to use, like the team up power, they choose Turbo Ranger instead, and that's the joke. Before they switch over to Car Ranger as the correct one.
That was before Silver showed up, wasn't it?
Probably. I don't remember. It was an early Jellushito episode.
Yeah, I want to say that was before.
Actually, that was the first Jellushito episode. That's when he like confesses his love to.
Love for yeah.
What was her
I
name?
forget her
Naria.
name. Something like that.
And then the next time we see him, she's already gone over him and throws him out with the oversized garbage.
That's right.
Oh, Jellushido. There's an infinite number of worlds in this show. He's in one of them.
You're right. He is. Question is, which one would he be in?
Oh man.
Actually, you know what I'm waiting, where I'm expecting to see him
Go
when
on.
they do the crossover for Kira Major. and he's just some random person who happens to be on Crystalia at the time.
just, just nothing
Just,
important.
just, just nothing important. Just walking around in the background.
Oh, it doesn't matter. He's not important.
Nope.
What were we talking about? Oh, right, snails. So,
Just the way, just the fact it's just so asinine. It makes it sound like we're crazy people.
so we get the henshin and roll call, and two Kaiser joins in up until the point where Kaido starts to say the five of us are. Oh no, wait, the six of us are, and then Zox is like, no, don't include me, and he walks off. While Jiren berates him, like, then don't get in the lineup.
That was unexpected. Because I don't think we've ever had that.
Nope.
Or we haven't had anything close to that.
Nope. That's a world first.
Leave it to Kaito.
But yeah, this is definitely planting the seeds of Zox actually cooperating with them instead of just doing his own thing that sometimes aligns with their goals.
Right. Which seems like it might only last a few episodes.
But yeah. Once you overcome his area of effect, he becomes trivial to defeat. Excuse me. Giant monster version is a lot tougher.
Real quick, can we point out how Zox got through that?
Oh, when he like was still dancing in slow motion, but he was setting up like the shields to protect him.
And the targeting shots. I will admit, dude's a genius.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing. So yeah, we get the mech fight, and the giant snail is a lot stronger. His shell is strangely tough for a snail. It actually breaks Juran and Gawan's weapons in mech mode.
I'll admit that was unexpected. Like, I expected the whole ineffective attack. I was not expecting damaged weapons.
And then we get two mech introductions. The first is Stacy's. His evil Sentai Robo. And then we get Zox's mech. Newly built. Well, modified from what they already had. And yeah, we get to see Shinken mode first.
Like, I was not expecting them to split that debut.
It's pretty interesting. I understand it though because we talked about this before, where this show doesn't lend itself well to auxiliary mechs. So like spreading out the toy advertisements is the best move.
Right, which it does. Because like the last time we had that could do this was Lupin X, and we got both forms in the same episode. Might not have gotten both finishers in an episode, but we did get both forms in one episode.
Did we?
Yeah, because he did a cartwheel from one to the other.
Huh.
Did a move and then rotated back because he started as silver, flipped to gold, flipped back to silver to finish it.
Right. Because it was like a 2-in-1 thing, yeah. Whereas here, it seems more like he has to pick which one he's going to use because it would be a pain to switch between them.
Which, seeing how that mech is built, I don't think so. Because the Shinken form is literally on the back of it.
I mean, I feel like you would have to like separate and rejoin
well,
in the
yeah,
correct way.
Because that's right. Because that's gonna have to be the case. It would be weird if all it did was just turn around.
Right. Unlike Lupin X.
Well, no, to be fair, Lupin X had to do parkour.
Yeah, he just had to do a handstand and suddenly he's standing up again.
Weird train gravity bullshit.
But yeah, he makes short work of the snail monster, which really highlights how much stronger his mech is than the Jurin Gawan mech, which broke itself trying to fight the snail.
Yeah, but and again, it's like this is one thing Sentai has done really well is doing the whole power scaling from character to character and power up to power up.
So after the snail is defeated, Stacy decides, after accomplishing nothing, that he's gonna leave because he's outnumbered.
Yeah. The sad thing is, like, I didn't watch both of these episodes back to back. I watched 12 the same day, the day that I got it. I forgot Stacy showed up.
Yeah, he doesn't do much. He tries getting his big showdown with Kaito, but it doesn't last long, and it's not the focus anyways. So once the snail's defeated, Stacy doesn't want to try and fight him and Zox, so he just leaves.
And then episode 13 happens.
I do love though that when Zox shows up to fight the snail monster, Stacy's just like, "All right, perfect. You focus on me," and Kaito's just like, "All right, full force, full focus," as he's getting his ass kicked in the mech.
Yeah. I mean that is 100% Kaito's personality, though. He's the one who would take an ass whooping and be glad that it was full force.
End of the episode, Kaito's like, "Hey, we did it because we worked together," and Flint's like, "No, I just wanted to help my brother."
Because
Jurin,
it's playing that up.
yeah, Jurin tries pulling Zox aside of like, "Hey, you know how your siblings feel," and he's like, Zox like, "Yeah, we work together as a team, but I'm still top dog."
I mean, every pirate ship's got to have a captain.
And yeah, that's the episode. Jurin and Imagine still don't quite get it because it's like, man, that family is just all stubborn.
I mean, this coming from Jurin is kind of funny because he is very stubborn.
So yeah, moving on to episode 13. Uh, Gawan plays with some kids who tickle him with cattails.
And who knew robots were ticklish?
Turns out Kikanoids have a nervous system.
I mean, it makes sense until later in the episode. I'm sorry, there's something that happens in here that just seems like it would be extremely painful.
I'm not sure what you're talking about, but let's keep going. uh, the monster is the Return of Trash World. No, wait, hold on. He has a recycling symbol on him. It's Recycle World.
What a dumb fucking idea. But again, glorious.
Every season you have an episode where like they just reuse old monster suits just because it saves on budget. And this is it. This is what we get. We get Recycle World. And that's the joke.
Yeah.
But
I mean, the sad thing is, through all this, he so far has been the most effective.
yeah, so the actual conflict is that he absorbs humans and recycles them by turning them into grunts. Meaning the Zenkaigers can't fight back because they'd be fighting humans.
Socks, on the other hand, doesn't give a shit.
Yeah, like, wait, these guys are holding Tojiro gears. Give me those, I want those.
Like, I like how he's like, oh, wait, oh, cool, you guys got this? All right, I'm going to go take out him. And then he sees they got a gear and goes,
No, wait, switching
change of
targets.
plan. Change of plan.
And, like, kind of everyone's just like, no, don't, that's a human. And then Zox looks at the guy for a moment and then beats the shit out of him.
He's like, oh, yeah, you're right. That makes this easier.
Because, hey, one of them might have the gear he's looking for. And even later, after they find out that the gears are fake, he doesn't stop because what if one of them has the real one?
I mean, he's not wrong.
He kind of is, though, because it's clearly a trap.
Well, yeah, clearly a trap, but they don't know which one he's looking for.
No, but after already discovering that these gears aren't even world
Right.
gears.
So, but, so these were the things. What if Ijirude, in his whatever, accidentally threw a real
No,
one
he
in that
wouldn't.
pile?
You would not accidentally throw it. It would have to be an intentional choice. And if they did throw a real one in there, then they would have baited him by letting him know that there is a real one amongst them. But instead, they just gave him all the fake ones and let him draw his own stupid conclusions.
Oh, I'm not saying that they did that's how that played out, but I'm there from his point of view. There's at least a very small possibility that one of them might be real. Because to be fair, by the end of it, one of them was real. Just didn't come off of one of the
Yeah, the
Kudas.
monster that they should have defeated.
Yes.
Es- Especially since when they do defeat him, everyone who's freed is still holding their gear and the Zenkaigers go around and collect them.
Yeah. I'm not saying though that it didn't end up being dumb.
This, like, Zox is just dumb this episode. He's even the one who figures out that the gears are fake after he analyzes the one he got. The ones
No,
that
he wasn't the one they figured out was fake. He figured out that they weren't the right world. Vroom was the one who pointed out that they were fakes.
right. Zox figured out that it was a trap.
Yeah.
And he just continues to walk into the trap.
I mean, to be fair, if you can walk into a trap and know you can walk out the other side of the trap just fine, what's the point of the trap? Trigger it, you bring the enemy to you.
He's not the one being hurt by the trap, is the point.
He doesn't care about the humans. That's the emphasis of his character. So his mindset at that point is trigger the trap.
Which, good on the villains, since this was Barashitara's entire plan. Throw the two groups into conflict against each other so they don't work together.
Which...
So good on you, Barashitara. You got what you wanted because Zox is an idiot.
And an ass. I will admit, through all of this, I'm very glad that we got to cut down dancing. For both of his transformation dances, they're shorter.
And, like, anytime he tries to do anything, someone interrupts him. Like, when Zox goes to fire at some transformed humans, like, Galen straight up jumps in the way, like, no, don't hurt them. Great moment for Gowon.
Oh, dude, this whole episode was kind of great for Gowon, which, given the fact that this is still let's focus on Zox, the fact that they gave Gowon a badass episode,
right,
kind of amazing.
And like
I wasn't expecting it.
And like you can see the look on Zox's face of like, did he really take the shot for them? As he starts to understand the Zenkaiger's convictions, even if he doesn't agree with it.
Right, like you get that look of confusion mixed with understanding and a little bit of adoration.
And then Kaido shows up with the others and reveals his big plan. feathers.
Gucci, 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 Gucci,
To
Gucci.
tickle the humans so they can't fight back, and steal their gears so that Zox won't have a reason to beat them up. Zox are
I did, well, real quick, to circle back to your original plan, or your original comment, kick the monster's ass, problem solved.
yeah, but the problem is that if they go and do that, then Zox will be beating up a bunch of humans while they're doing that.
Right. This is more the whole, we'll do this while you go do that.
And Zox even tries to make the argument of, like, why are you protecting them? Why aren't you fighting back? Right now, in this moment, they don't care about you. To which the counter argument is, they will when we free them. And we don't want them to regret what they did.
Which is honestly a very underrated moment that has been used throughout Sentai and Rider a lot. I mean, God, that's all we've been dealing with Saber.
And, like, just watching this display of tickling with giant feathers play out, Zox can't help but laugh. It's the stupidest thing he's ever seen, and Kaito has impressed him.
And for once this entire series, I fully agree with Zox. It's the stupidest thing I've seen.
And then
20 years of Sentai, and this is the dumbest thing I've seen. And like we stated earlier, one of the monsters was a literal oversized piece of garbage. Organic garbage. So.
But to follow up the silliness, we get a pretty cool roll call as the Zenkaigers are running towards the monster to fight him as they do it.
And this is the point that has the nervous system should hurt.
What do you mean?
Vroom turns into a fucking truck.
He's a transformer.
I understand that. Nervous system. I don't care if I don't care.
I'm not going to claim to know how robots feel about transforming into machines.
I mean, if you ask Japan, they fucking love it.
It's not a very relatable thing.
It's not. There's just more. I'm like, if you got it to the point where they're ticklish, if you turn, bend your skin, bones, and everything else a different way, it's gonna hurt.
But yeah, after that roll call, like, all of the pirates are just staring in awe, like, okay, that was that. Okay, that was pretty cool.
Like, Tibio was a mixture of that was cool and what the fuck did I just see?
These guys are actually kind of impressive.
Like, the fact that Vroom picked up the other three
to catch them up.
Just to catch them up to Gowan, who was like 4 feet ahead.
So yeah.
And that is one of the strangest roll calls we've seen.
If
only because of the suits. I think it's more because of the suits.
The more they try to force the two groups to fight each other, the better they get along as they understand each other.
Right. Like, this... I want to say it was... Wasn't this sort of an issue with Hurricaneger? With the other team?
The other team being tricked and lied to?
Well, I just mean more in the, like, the longer that this whole head-to-head kind of thing, the more they understood each other. They started to slowly...
Probably. I didn't actually watch Hurricaneger, and I watched Ninja Storm, but I honestly don't remember their plotline in Ninja Storm.
All I remember is the master was a guinea pig, which apparently wasn't far from what Japan had.
I think in Japan they used a real guinea, they used like a real one instead of like America's really shitty CGI. Shitty CGI.
Like, knowing the fact that like they were changing things, I mean, given Jungle Fury and all that, the fact that it was all they did was computer generate it was disappointing to me. I was expecting, something that us as Americans would have a hard time either understanding or relating to. But then again, this is also the same company that decided that felt or leather looked better than felt.
What are you referring to?
Doggy Kruger.
Oh, right.
In the American version, he was made of leather.
Yeah, and he kind of looked a little scaly, didn't he?
Yeah, it was because of like the splotches like along the snout. Yeah, it looked borderline scaly. It was like I get you're
I
going for the Doberman look, and
like I get that you want his lips to actually move when he talks, but like the Sentai suit was just better on this one.
it's sad the amount of times we have to say
But
that.
when it comes to the actual like CGI of the face moving, it was some of their best work.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Um, the CG thing brought something else into my head, and I lost it again.
Oh well.
You know, I'll remember it. 2 hours after the podcast.
So they send out the giant monster, and Idrudi tells Stacy like you should go out too. And he doesn't actually show up until the monster's already been defeated.
I was sitting there wondering when the fuck that he was going to show up. And if we want to get completely technical, he doesn't. He shows up and defeats the actual
Oh
monster.
right, right. But yeah, giant recycle world, and he like recycles four previous monsters to form an evil Sentai team. And so Toon is like freaking out and like types it up on his computer with his beak.
I will admit, watching the recycle world, Sentai recycle world, whatever the fuck they called themselves, I laughed because I'm like, that's the joke.
Yep.
And then Toon had to explain it, and I'm like, yeah, it's still funny. I think it was more funny the lengths they went with it because like the initial beginning of it is like it's clearly recycled footage from like especially Mushroom World and Boxing World.
Right.
The start of them fighting those particular two were just copy pasted, but the attention to detail in some of it is where like when they're doing like the wide shots, you can see the top of Boxing World's head keep popping into frame.
And so like the issue comes from like no matter which one they try to fight and they get into like all right, this is what we have to do to fight Mushroom World. We got this. Suddenly Boxing World like ah shit, and like that's what keeps throwing them off. However, Zox never fought any of these guys. So he shows up with his O Ranger mech and just kind of fires a minigun at them.
And then alligators them.
That too.
I will admit I do like the fact for his particular max, I do like uh, the use of graphics from the respective shows, even if colors are wrong on some of them.
Yeah, it's fine.
The pyramid is gold, not red. I saw that episode. I'm not seeing anything yet.
Like, if we did, it was only like 5 seconds, but I'm not
Yeah,
actually convinced we went
from what
down.
I'm watching the preview, it never went down.
Yeah, okay,
At no
OBS.
point did there it is.
Oh,
Then yeah, we were down for about 2 seconds, if
yeah,
that.
okay.
Um, I will admit I like Zox's little arrogant thing. I was like, dude, no, we've been up here studying you. What the hell?
But yeah, Stacy shows up in Rex recycling world himself because he wants to be the one to defeat the Zenkaigers.
Which again makes sense.
And this is the start of this is clearly the start of an internal conflict with the villains, where it's like, hey, you shouldn't don't start fighting each other more than you're fighting the heroes here.
Which, to be fair, we don't get a lot of that in Sentai. Like we don't get it nearly as much as like I thought we did. The last one I truly remember the internal conflict, and I'm not counting pitting them on, the fact that the two generals don't like each other. So I'm not counting Lupat or the one.
Like
I'm also not counting
like
it for
actual infighting though. Like like like
the
it's
last one I remember was Juoger,
um
where was basically the blue one was basically betraying Genis.
uh yeah, but that kind of came late in the show.
But it's but my thing is like, but it still happened.
Yeah.
It's been a while since we've had it happen at all. I mean, we've had the whole brainwashed character who ends up no longer brainwashed, a la Zenkaiger, with I think his name was Sid. But it's rare that we get the actual straight up infighting.
Let's see here. I'm trying to think if there were any. Oh, Tokyuger. We got a
Yeah,
little. We
Schwartz.
even some other characters.
Yeah,
But yeah,
Schwartz, Madam. What?
we got some
There was a fair bit.
there we got quite a bit of that in Tokyuger.
I mean, to the point where they basically fought their boss. God, I missed Tokyuger.
But yeah, so the episode ends with Stacy getting ready to have a showdown with Zox. And that's the cliffhanger we leave off on. And then the next episode preview has nothing to do with that.
I that was a fucking smack to the face. I was waiting to see a little bit of mech, the two mechs fighting. It no next
It's
week.
like, no, whatever happens next, it's gonna get resolved in the first 2 minutes of the episode, and then we're gonna move on to Kaito and Zox finally having their duel.
Which, to me, this is the I win, you join us.
That's what it feels like.
Right.
That's what it feels like. We can't keep working against each other. We need to settle this once and for all.
Right. Which I give them credit for dragging it out as long as they did. And I was like, this show continues to be a surprising delight for me. Because it, like, for me, it's like the humor that's been making this show perfection for me is like the little shit. Like when they're doing their roll calls and Duran mid roll call goes, "Why are we running?" Like it's the little shit.
And just like we were talking about earlier, when Vroom turns into a car to carry the others, like
4 feet, just to get them in line.
It's these details that make this show great.
Like as dumb and asinine as this show is, and let's face it, this show is dumb and asinine. When it comes to, especially when it comes to the monsters, 100% the dumbest and most asinine thing that they could do. Makes sense, but that doesn't change the fact it's dumb and asinine. But this show does it in a way that is like, it's very fun to watch. Even if it, like, at the beginning when we were more watching it for the, hey, we found the next character, how are they going to shoot the bad guy? And then, they capped it off by having Majin shoot herself in the face. Almost. It's like, it's just the little tweaks here and there of of the jokes. And it's like, it's great. Or even Kaito going, wait a minute, that's our thing. You can't do that. When the giant bad monsters summon their giant bazooka.
It's like, what, they can copy our moves now too?
Like,
I was honestly kind of expecting the heroes to use that again in this scenario.
right, like I expected them to just like quickly bust it out again and do the whole beam struggle thing, or giant explosion.
Even before the villains used it, I thought that the Zenkaigers were going to use it to fight, 5 enemies at once, and then the villains used it.
I forgot that was a thing they did. Though, to be fair, wasn't that just in the Red Special?
The bazooka?
Wait, no, never mind. I forgot what I was thinking of. Never mind. That was the Stacy introduction.
Yeah.
I'm stupid. I'm dumb. That was human form. That was the Red Special. I don't know why I thought that was let's turn them individually. Yeah, no, that was Stacy's introduction.
All right.
It's sad that I already miss the actual Max. Like we got that one flood of it, and it just goes, no, we're just gonna give him his own, and it's gonna be an amalgamation of like 8 different mechs. Go have fun. Because the head of it looks like it's just repurposed from Gokai Silvers.
Probably. I haven't gotten a good look at it, but yeah, like
It's got like that.
I was honestly expecting like a mech of the week to accompany the monster.
That's what I was expecting once I saw that it was a thing for summoning mechs, and I was like, we got the one episode, and it's like, nope, never again. Or exceedingly rare.
Maybe he'll start summoning it as an ally to like keep Zox busy while he fights Kaito.
That's actually very clever. And to be fair, Zox would be the one to put it against, seeing as he doesn't have any assistance or knowledge of what's best to use against it. Also, it's awfully lucky that when every time they open up that the gear pouch, the one they need is right there.
I assume it's magic.
Yeah, but at least Gokaiger's explained theirs.
Right.
Like, it was just connected. Think about the one you want and slam. This one is just I just want one episode where they go use this gear and Kaito goes and pulls up 4 and goes, that one. I know I'm never gonna get it.
I thought you were gonna say he pulls up 4 gears and goes, tune.
That'll work too. Because that's the other thing, is like he doesn't know what the Sentais look like. It would make sense if Tune was going use number 26 and then said what the name was. But it's just no, Tune's just going use Turbo Ranger.
I assume that they have an off-screen crash course on what gears are what, because, like, Toon tells Gowan, like, hey, have Zox use Gowanger gear, and so, like, Gowan, like, opens up his case, like, here it is, hey, Zox, use this one.
Wonder if they found Guy for that course.
Nah, guy's trapped in one of the world gears. Toon's got the database though. He can do it.
Maybe Zox ended up in that base and took his book.
No, because
that magically had them in it too.
All right. So thanks for joining us tonight, everybody. We'll be back next week for more Zenkaiger, and
At some
Saber.
point, we'll be back for Saber.
Saber is currently in limbo. We might not even return until
It's over.
it's over, and we just do like a second half, or not even second half, last
Last
third.
arc. Yeah, pretty much last arc. Um, but yeah, thank you all for listening. We apologize for the delay. Part of it was not in our control. Part of the delay was due to fuck fucktards on Twitter.
Part of it was also due to me getting my second shot, and I needed to rest.
And me forgetting to remind you. I did forget. So we will see you next week.